I'll give you a quick lesson on how you build a horse cavaletti, which are the cross beams that go over for a horse to be able to jump over. Got a horse in the back. We've got a couple of poles along the ground there, but we want to lift it up off the ground. So I'll show you how we make one. Let's get to it. First thing we need, and I've got it above me, you can't quite see, is a beam. So I've got some threaded pine, H3. So I've got one length of that. We're going to cut it into 600mm bits. We're then going to cut a little rebate out of it and put them together. Really simple, not much to it. So to do it, we need our saw. You can use any type of saw, you don't need a specific saw like this. If you've got a little handheld one, that'll do the job. You need a square. Over here, I've got a hammer and a chisel, just in case we don't cut it even enough when we do it on the saw. So that'll be a tidy up. We've got our tape measure to make sure we measure the right lengths. Screws. I've also got a file just to smooth it down, or a little bit of sandpaper, depending on what it is that you want to use. Screws that I've got, so I've got 40mm depth screws, so you don't want them to go too long, otherwise they'll go through the timber. My timber's 35mm, and because I'm taking that rebate out, it's actually going to go through 20mm of one lot of timber, and then that remaining 20mm, because it's a 40mm screw, will go through the other lot of timber. So I'll end up going through and not poking through the other end. And I'll show you there's a little trick to making sure you screw it in on the right side as well. So make sure you stay around for that. Got my little impact drill. Any type of drill will be fine. And I've got glasses, yep, they are on my head still. And a pair of earmuffs for when we use this. And the last thing that I'm missing is a pencil, which I have around here. Let me go and find it. Found my pencil, it was on the ground. Alright, so first things first, we'll get our bit of timber, we'll move all this out of the way, and we'll measure our lengths of 600mm. So each side of the cavaletti is going to need 2 lengths at 600mm. Alright, so that's all our lengths cut. So we only need to do a rebate in every, like on one side of each one. So when they cross over, it'll end up looking like that. We'll only rebate one side and then it'll sit in. And the reason why we do that is then that gives us 2 points to screw the actual pole that goes along between the two on. So, simple enough. Now, depending on the size of timber you've got, will change your measurements here. But it's a very simple process to follow, irrespective of the size of timber that you've got. So you want to go halfway. So for me it's 300. So I'm going to do a line at 300 and not lose my tape measure like that. And then all we want to do here is we want to measure how wide the bit of timber is. Because we've got them all the same, we know that for this bit of timber it's 70. So for every piece of timber, and I'll show you what I'm measuring, got 70 mil here. So that means each piece of timber along here is all going to be 70. So from my halfway mark, we want to get a gap of 70 mil, which means I'm going to go 35 on either side. So for me, it's pretty simple. I'm going to measure to 335, so 35 on one side, and 265. So that's going to be on the other side of the measurement there. So as I said, 70 mil wide, that's 35 on either side. So 335 and 265. And that's got my measurement of my rebate. I'll get my square and draw that line across. Now this is where you do want to be pretty accurate, because if you don't draw this straight, your cross won't be straight either. So I've now got my section here. I'll show you. This section between there, that's what I'm going to end up cutting out. Now, for how deep we need to go. That bit there is for 20 mil. Because as I said, this is a 35 mil piece. I'm going to cut 20 mil out of this bit. And then I'm going to have my 40 mil screws go through. And then that's going to give me some good bite. So, I'm going to measure 20 mil down from the bit that we're cutting. 20 mil, and then I'm going to do it on the other side as well. Now the reason why you have to do it on both sides of the timber is that for me, I'm using this circular saw and it doesn't cut straight. So it's got the arch in the saw itself. It's not like a square saw. It doesn't go all the way back. So I need to measure and cut on both sides of the timber to be able to achieve the drop that I'm after. So then you just want to get a straight line going across between the two bits that you just measured on one side and on the other. And now I've got my section that I'm going to cut out. So I'll bring it up. You can see I'm going to go down there, across there and up, and then on this side down, across and up. So what I'm going to do is cut a lot of little slices through there to get my cut. Now there will end up being a slight arch in the middle, but that's fine, you'll never see it. It'll be hidden between the two bits of timber. Now this is the bit you want to take your time. You want to get your two ends done first and then work through. Now the better and cleaner that you cut this, the less prep work you need to do afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my time and I'm going to slowly move the bit of timber across as I do each cut, with the aim to have it all cleaned out on one side. I'll flip it around, I'll do the same thing, again with the aim that it's all pretty well clean. I'm then either going to go through with the chisel if I haven't done it well enough, the file, or a bit of sandpaper just to smooth it out. So let's see how we go. Probably want to put these on too. So this is probably the best time that I can show you what I meant by that curve in the saw. So you can see here my two cuts have gone down to the line, and I've done that on either side. When I spin it around, you see, because of the way the saw cuts, this one still has another, let's say 10 mil to go, maybe a little bit less, and same on this side. So that's because I cut it this way, but because the saw moves backwards and forwards and this was sitting right back up against it, I couldn't get the full cut. Now what I could do if I wanted to is actually hold this piece of wood out and do it, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. I prefer to cut all one side, spin it around, and then do the same on the other. So now I'm going to work my way through the group, the middle section, slowly. There we go. So that's a lot smoother on that side, a lot smoother on that side. As you can see, there is a bit of a hump there, so we do have a little bit of work to clean up, but that will only take a second. So what I'm going to use my chisel here, just to tidy up a couple of the high bits. But I'm not too concerned with it, as long as it gives you a fairly square finish is all you're after. So just find any little tall bits that are sitting in there, bring them back, give them a clean up. Just for this one, just go through, trying to get an angle, tidy it up. Now, hopefully, this measurement has been done correctly. Because if it has, I should be able to grab another piece over here and with a tiny bit of force, fit it in, if I can, which is great. Now, to get this measurement right though, because I do want it to be square, we'll do the same thing we did before with finding that middle section. Because then, that middle section is our guide. I'll take them off too. That middle section is then our guide. So, like what I did before, 300 in the middle, got 335 on one side, 265 on the other. And now, this is pretty simple. I just need to find my two guides that I put in, and when I put this bit of timber over it, I should be able to see my two bits that I drew on. So I can see one just there and one there, which is exactly how I want it. And that's it done. So we know we've got it together, we know we're happy with how it's all finished off with each other. Last bit, we need to screw them together. So what I've got here, some external wood screws or timber screws. We'll need 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is pretty simple. We just want to put it on either corner. Now remember when I said make sure you do this the right way? So you want to put your screw through this way. If we go through this way, we're going through 35 mil of timber. How can I see that? If I go this way, let's see if that makes sense. I'm going to go through 35 mil worth of timber, and it's going to finish about there. It's only just going to grab hold of that other one. Where if I go in this way, I'm going to go through the full 20, and then I've got another 20 sitting on the other side. So, as I said, just want to make sure you're doing it the right way the first time. Otherwise, you'll find it'll fall apart fairly well straight away on you. Pretty simple, 4 on each corner, just to hold it in. You can use any type of drill.